black men are still some of the poorest men in the United States. And it appears it will get worse, especially since men are looking for work less and less in comparisons to the generation that came before us. But what are the reasons that black men are poor? Is it because of racism? Is it because of lack of opportunity? Is it because of the system? Obviously, those things definitely are reasons why black men are poor. It's the same reasons why, black Brazilians are poor or black South Africans were poor. Wherever white people are that rule over blacks are always less rich. That's a commonality. But the United States is different. It's different in the fact that there's a lot of opportunities in the United States, especially in the black sectors. And blacks have something that even people in the black British world don't have. We have HBCUs. We have a larger community. We have a larger entrepreneurial class. And that brings me into the whole debate about Jackson State. Now, Deion Sanders, we understand why our brother left, because a lot of that administration in HBCUs, we understand, are problematic. However, we must admit that Jackson State did give him the first opportunity. No other college gave him opportunity, coach, but Jackson State. Jackson State let everybody in the world know that Deion Sanders could actually coach college football at a high level. And I was watching Dr. Boyce Watkins give an interview to somebody I highly respect, Dr. Claude Anderson. And of course, Dr. Boyce Watkins wanted to know Dr. Claude Anderson's mindset about the Deion Sanders going to University of Colorado. And what I'll do is I'll play that particular clip because I believe that it's factual, and then we'll come back.
Nobody else had offered him a head coaching job, but Jackson State did. So Deion went there, and he just electrified the city. They were making a lot more money. They were filling up stadiums. For 2 years, his team was one of, if not the best team in the conference. And he was doing extremely well. So everyone was excited about how this was bringing attention to HBCUs. A lot of the best players had started to attend HBCUs, where a lot of them used to go to the white schools, and the white schools would make money from them. Now you had Jackson State recruiting some of the best out there. Well, then the University of Colorado came along, and they offered Deion $5 million a year. And Deion left Jackson State and to take the job at Colorado. So some people felt it was the best move to make because it was more money, more visibility for Deion, things like that. But then there are some people who felt that it was disappointing because they'd hoped that he would stick it out with HBCUs and help develop HBCUs as an attracting point for the top black athletes, coaches, et cetera. I'd like to get your thoughts on that because I was kind of mixed too. On one hand, there was a lot of money there for this job, but on the other hand, I saw him really building a very powerful legacy that was going to be to the economic benefit of not just him, but also to the university, to the city of Jackson, and to HBCUs as a whole. Did you have any thoughts on that?
Well, in the context and under the context of powernomics, what one should ask oneself is, how did black folk benefit from that? How did they benefit from leaving a black school, going to a white school, or getting more money, or getting more visibility? What did that, at the bottom line, if I were to pour everything through a net and dry it out, what do you get? What's left over? What have black folk got to show for that whole charade of going from being on a black team to switching to a white teams? So when you graduate, you can get more money and you can get a little more visibility. I don't understand, because I can't see integration is a degraded situation for black folk. Why would you get your jollies or your kicks off of being off a white school besides just money? See, if you're fighting for your lives, if you knew your race right now, which they should know, your race holds a world's record. WORLD world record for the longest enslaved people on earth. Why would you get your kicks off of going with a white school just to get more money and more publicity? Why aren't you concentrating on the fact that after 400, now it's 465 years, you own and control absolutely nothing. You own, and you're up now to be eliminated and exterminated from this earth. What did you get out of it? Why would you side with somebody who's in opposition to you? You know they're using you, and you didn't see the Jews running out of the box up there, broadcast box, saying we're gonna put our Jewish athletes in there so they can get more money. They didn't want that kind of money. They wanted to be able to own and control the teams. Where are all the black teams that black folk got from all that? Where's all the money they got from it? If they did that starting in the 1940s, and now here we are almost getting close to 100 years, what have they got to show after 40 years of being a show for white folk? Tell me that. I want to understand. I'm at a loss. I don't know. What did you get for being showing? When you don't have any community, you don't have any businesses, you don't have any wealth, you don't have any power, you don't have any unity, you don't have any culture. Your culture has been raped and robbed and stolen, given to everybody. Now you're an artifact for culture for all these groups coming to America. I mean, I'm looking for something. Don't give me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Give me just one. Give me one thing that blacks got out of that. And you can start with, as an example, Jackie Robinson. I never understood the importance of all blacks. We got Jackie Robinson. We got now that the Depression is over and it's 1930s, and black folk are not going to go in and rebuild their little neighborhoods, and they don't have any businesses. They had 20 times more businesses in 1920 per 100,000 blacks than they got today. They had 20 times more. And I said, what are you going to show for it now? Well, they said, well, in 1938 and 39, what we'll do is that we don't want to own businesses anymore like we were trying to do in 1920s. We came out of slavery. Let's just invite white folks to come in and help us. And since Jews are now pouring into the country from overseas, right before World War I, and we'll cut a deal with them, let them come into our community, and we'll help give them businesses. We'll give them authorization to put up businesses in every black neighborhood in America. And we'll buy from them and patronize them. And we don't need any businesses. And all they got to do is once in a while, is whenever something happens to us in a race matter, just side with us as a white person and try to bring some comfort to whites and to us for having been exploited, misused, and murdered. We'll take that. We'll trade off and give them a chance to take some sports figures and line them with that'll make some sense. And so 10 years later, here comes the Brooklyn Dodgers saying, Jackie Robinson, we're gonna make you the first black to go with a white team. You go to a white team and we'll integrate you. Even though everybody is gonna call you a Negro and black and skunk, kinky head, all kind of names, black cats on the field when you're trying to play. And now they said, well, that was a great move. We now got a black boy on a white team. And so what we must do now is, since that we are now integrated, we got one black boy playing on all these white teams. Let's integrate and let's destroy all of our teams. We had 2 damn black major baseball teams, 2. Each one of those teams had about 30 or 40 some blacks on it. We had our own baseball fields. We had our own coaches. We had our own managers. We had our own equipment. We had our own buses. We drew crowds every time we had a game where blacks were playing against blacks. And that was the biggest thing in the country. So now they said, well, y'all got to get rid of those black baseball teams and come and sit in the stands and give us your money so we'll let you look at Jackie Robinson. So I'm trying to figure out, and now and at that time, blacks made about 65 or 70% of all the baseball players became black. About 72% of all the boxers became black. About 64% of all the football players became blacks, and blacks haven't got a damn thing out of all.
Now, before I kind of break that down, I want to kind of talk about Dr. Claude Anderson's mindset. Dr. Claude Anderson comes from a different generation, a generation that's the same as my mother. I will believe the baby boomer generation. This generation understood Jim Crow. They understood racism. They understood redlining. So when it comes to the black community, they have a different perspective than somebody in our generation would have. I mean, I might be a chip off the old block, but he understood. He's seen black communities over the years. The elder has experience. So if we're looking at a $5 million job, sure, it benefits us as individuals. But Dr. Claude Anderson thinks about the community. How does it pull all of us out into the open? Think about Jackson State and Deion Sanders, and I'll get back to his commentary. When Deion was coming to Jackson State, he was increasing ticket sales. He was increasing things for the city of Jackson. You know, he had people coming into Jackson. That was creating something that was, going to be a formula for other black colleges to mimic, and then bring blacks up to a negotiating block with television stations and things like that. That's how Claude Anderson is looking at it. Not just the one person, right? But he mentioned something that's very important. He says, okay, I see that he left the black school to go to the white school, but why do blacks celebrate integration so much? Integration hurts black people. Not help, but it hurts black people. And you've been a victim of slavery for all of these different years. And because of that slavery, in a few years, you might not even be here. In fact, you don't own nothing. The other people that are on the other side are just using you. They're using you for your talent. And you'll never be able to catch up. Now, he talks about something that was important. Jackie Robinson. Jackie Robinson in the 40s, when we had the Negro Leagues, he came up to Major League Baseball. That pretty much was the end of the Negro Leagues, right? And he said, what did blacks get out of Jackie Robinson being in Major League Baseball? What did we get from Hank Aaron, Willie Mays, those greats? Nothing. 2022, the blacks still don't own anything as a community. He even mentioned at one point that we have 20 times less businesses than we used to have in 1930. Now he talks about the Jewish community. The Jews are never going to send their players out to the field like the blacks do. The Jews want to own the teams. What black teams the blacks have after all of this? Nothing. And see, I get that Deion had these issues with these people. I understand all that. But what he's saying is, as a group, you don't own anything. You don't have any wealth. And you still don't. That's what he's talking about. You know what I'm saying? And that's what he's discussing here. He's discussing that mindset of not having a community is why we don't have anything. That the people who have stuff, who look at things as a community, they have things more than us because of what they look, because of how they think. That's what he's talking about. How they think. And that's why black men are poor. Black men don't think about establishing communities, pulling other brothers into stuff. We think about what's good for us, and you don't own nothing. I think the elder put it out there. I know you guys don't like it, but it's true. It's true, family. I know y'all guys are going to come out there. Oh, say, why'd you go to school in Europe? Oh, say, why'd you get to... Like, those are ad hominem arguments. Try to put the argument against me. Well, y'all know I helped many black creators in my business and ask anybody. All right, I live this lifestyle. This is not attacking anybody. This is about why we don't have anything in comparisons to times past. That's the difference. And if you want to get upset about it, cool. It's not going to change anything, though. But guys, what do you think? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Jump. Appreciate you for all that you do. Subscribe, hit the bell. We're out.